Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're on GT Sport and we're back with a daily race C and probably a title that some people might find quite funny because, let's be honest, I've done plenty of rage quitting in my time on GT Sport, but it's something that I want to try and reduce to a minimum. I'm not going to say this will ever disappear, but yeah, if you do enjoy this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button so you do not miss any future videos, and let's get started with this race. So we're starting at the back of the grid. This was, I like doing this on the second account. We're starting from P15. We have Igor Fraga behind us in P16. He is a previous FIA world champion on GT Sport, so one of the best drivers in the world. Probably, I'd put him in the top 5 when he's definitely up to speed. He is absolutely insane on this game. So we're starting on the hard tyres in this race at Fuji in the Group 2 cars. This is Daily Race C. It's 13 laps of Fuji times, I think it's 12 or 13 tyre wear, quite high tyre wear. You have to use the mediums and the hard tyres, so it's got quite good strategy. It's got high tyre wear, but I think the high tyre wear actually is okay for this race because it leads to some strategy, as you can see there now. Trying to get a nice smooth start to the race, braking a little bit early there. We actually, I think we might have tagged him there on the rear, but we got away with no penalty, and trying to find the way past this driver in front of us who's probably on the hard tyres as well. It seems he's not taking that much speed through the corners again. Taking a very strange line through there. So we got up the inside, nicely up the inside, and we make up a position as Igor Fraga, I think, goes to try and do the same thing behind us. However, he actually ends up bump drafting the car behind. So we're going to go to the right hand side of the track now and try and defend this inside as we see absolute chaos in front of us. And luckily, that NSX there, as it resets the track as he was about to take out some drivers. We do a lovely move around the outside of 2 cars there and actually gain a few positions. So we've managed to put a car between myself and Igor Fraga, and we nearly get hit from the car behind me. Just about survived that. You might have seen it in the mirror as that car came so close to the rear of our car. But now we're in P12, so far a good start to the race. Lap 1, we've gained a few positions. We're still ahead of Igor Fraga, and we've actually got a bit of a gap to him, so a great start. We did unfortunately have a really good race with Igor, that was going on with Igor Fraga that I was recording. We were on lap 11, battling away, and my power cut out. So unfortunately that video will never come to light because it didn't save. But now we're going to go into turn 1, and we're going to go for a move on the right hand side. We see a gap there. Unfortunately, I was totally unsighted of the braking markers because we had 2 cars on the left, and I totally missed the braking marker. And then going over here, we lose control, and this is one thing that really frustrates me on GT. But yeah, we've lost control, but we were 30% on throttle as we went over the curb, not even putting any power down, and the car literally turns to ice. It's something that really confuses me on GT in situations like that. But as you can see now, we are down in P19 or 18, and look at how much time we have lost. We have lost a huge amount of time. I reckon possibly about 8 to 10 seconds in terms of time on track, but then probably more than that with the fact that we're going to have to overtake the cars again in this race. So a bit frustrating. A lot of the time, I have to say, I probably in the past would have rage quit at this point and given up, but I decided that we need to not do that as much as possible. We need to carry on and think positive because we're in a race where our pace is pretty strong and we're going to get cars battling away. So we skip ahead to lap 3 here, and you can see we've already managed to catch up the back of the train a few laps later from that incident, and we're catching up. We've got a car in front of us with a penalty, and there's still opportunities going to be available in this race. The aim from this point when we had that accident was, let's see if we can get to P10. Let's see if we can get a top 10 out of this race, because you never know what can happen. As we get the car with the penalty, we're going to get the slipstream off him, going over to the right just in case he on-goes in front of us. Now, if he would have been a bit earlier, if I would have caught him a little bit earlier in that penalty, I would have probably have gone straight through his ghost just to get a bit more slipstream out of him. But in that situation, decided to go to the right just in case he on-goes, and we end up going straight into the back of his car. So now we're up to P18. We've gained 1 position. We're still a few positions down from where we started in this race, and obviously we were up to, I think it was P11 or something. We actually was in a situation, if we'd have got the braking right, we would have almost been in the top 10. So quite a disappointing that we made that mistake in that corner. But yeah, we're not going to let that get to us. We're going to carry on with this race, and we're going to see where we can get to in this daily race here. Like I say, our pace is pretty strong around Fuji in Group 2. I do like this combination. It's a fun race to be in, and since they reduced the slipstream to 7.5 tenths, it's actually a lot more enjoyable. You can actually stay closer to a car, get in that slipstream and go for some moves as we go into this final sector. 2 cars ahead, battling away. We're going to see if we can see an opportunity to get past them while they're fighting. You can see they're really going at it as the guy on the right has a massive moment. We're going to go around the outside of him, pull a nice move on him there, and we're up into P17. So that is another position gain back. And now we've got P16 in front. We're going to take a tight line through there, and then we're going to go up the inside here, brake as late as we can, down to first gear to get that tight entry into the apex. That first gear in that corner will really help you rotate the car, especially when you're in dirty air as well. But don't do it too early because obviously you will slide a lot. So we're up a position there, 16th, and 2 more cars with a penalty, and now we're up to P14. So we're actually, I think, pretty much in the position we started, or 1 position ahead, as we got a car bomb drafting us behind. We're going to go into the braking zone, brake just a little bit past the 150 ball. The car behind, we slowed this down because this guy just sent it from literally quite far back. Luckily, I saw him in the mirror. Now, he ended up making a pretty good move. If I would have turned in there, though, I think we would have got killed. But we did see him in the mirror. We used our, racecraft. We left the door open because if we did turn in, we possibly both going to get a penalty. So he made the move. It ended up being a fair move, and it was actually a good move. I don't think it was a deliberate move. I think he was trying to overtake the car behind me, but braked a little bit late and ended up making quite a good double pass. But we're going to send that one back, see if we can send it up here. We braked a little bit late though. He takes a wider line, he does a cut back, and actually pulls a really good cut back on us there and gets that position back. However, we're not going to take that. We're going to go back and go for another attempt because we know we're faster. I know I'm faster than this guy in front. So braked really late into the corner. Managed this time to just about hold the apex, and we make a nice move there and back up to P14. So now we've got a bit of clean air, and we've got the best section of track to try and break away from the slipstream from that car behind us, which we've pretty much already done. Pulling away through here, and you can see that is why we wanted to make sure we got past, because I knew the pace was quite a bit faster. So now we're up into P14 again, and we've got P13 right in front of us, not too far ahead at all. Now the options here were, we could have pitted lap 5, however I felt that doing the 8 laps on the medium tyres would probably leave us with not much pace at the end, so I decided to stay out. You see, IOF has actually pitted that lap on the hard tyre, so he's decided to go in the pits, get rid of them and go for the 8 laps and try and get an undercut. I decided to stay out. We're going to stay out and do... We're not really racing Eagle in this one now. We're so far behind after that mistake at the start. So I decided that we're going to try and give ourselves the best fighting opportunity at the end to gain some position. So we're going to stay out for 6 laps on the hard and then do 7 laps on the medium tyre at the end of the stint. Now, I have managed to do 9 laps at one race and it worked quite well still. But I will say the tyres were completely shot at the end of the race as we're now approaching P12. And let's see if we can go for a move on this guy. We're getting very close, you see. Onto the replay camera, I do love these different low down angles on GT Sport as we go into the chicane. Heavy braking zone, very technical section, this last section at Fuji. You've got to be making sure you line the car up, not taking too much speed into the corners. It's all about positioning the car in the right place and getting early apexes. We're going to try and hang it round the outside, and we actually pull off an absolutely brilliant move for that position there, around the outside of the corner, made it nice and cleanly, and that's one more position gain just before we're about to enter into the pit stop phase. And looking ahead, we've got P11, 10 and 9, and I think we've got one car with a penalty there, so this is looking quite good. We're going to be possibly able to get ourselves back into the top 10 by the end of this race. It's looking pretty good for a top 10. We're going to pit this lap, so into the pits we see some cars staying out, maybe to try and obviously get better tyres at the end, but that could be good for us as we fast forward the pit stop on GT Sport. With them longer pit stops now, it's better just to fast forward the action during that phase. And we're down to P15, however obviously that's without some people who have not pitted, and obviously Eagle went in very early, so he's jumped back past us. So down a few positions, but we're going to get a few of them positions back when we come to the pit stop phase for the other cars. But we've got P14 not far ahead. We're going to try and put in some reasonable sectors during this phase of the race. We're not going to give up on this fight to get in that top 10 as we go through that slow left-hand corner. Very tricky corner on Fuji as we see the car ahead on the power lost control and then goes wide again, and that's a freebie there. He's got dirty tyres, and that is a very tricky corner. I've always said this on Fuji. It's a very tricky corner in Group 2 because you want to get the power down too early and the rear snaps, too slow on the power, and you lose a good 3 or 4 attempts. It's crazy how much time you can lose on that corner. But now we're up into this final sector, trying to keep it nice and smooth. You see P1's in the pits on the hard tyres there. So we know we're not going to be fighting at the front in this race. It's all about seeing what position we can get to and what sort of recovery we can get from this race. So we're on lap 7, and we've got a bit of a gap in front of us now. We've got cars going into the pits. We're in P14. We're going to gain some positions back now when some of the later runners on them hard tyres pitted. So some of them are going to obviously have better medium tyres than what I've got, but you can see up ahead they're out on the pits. Some are further up, but we've managed to gain 2 positions. Can we just about get past him? We managed to brake nice and late into the corner, and we get ourselves up into P12. So we've got 2 cars ahead of us that have just come out on medium tyres. They're going to have fresher tyres than us as we skip ahead to lap 9 out of 13 now. And you can see we've done an okay lap time of 1:30.4. It wasn't particularly amazing, but we managed to get a solid lap time in there, and we're getting very close to catching up to the cars in front and their slipstream. So them 2 cars have got fresher tyres than us, and if they start battling, this will be good for us as we'll get ourselves into that slipstream. So we're going to try and keep it nice and smooth, not killing the tyres too much, because we need some life at the end of this race if we have to battle. But yeah, this is really showing why I'm saying this about not rage quitting, because I am guilty of it. One of probably the most common person to say I'm guilty of this. However, I think this is something that we need to improve on the channel, because clearly at the start of the race like this, it is showing that it is definitely worth carrying on and fighting on to that last lap to see what positions you can get. Now, I'm not going to say I'm never going to rage quit again, because that would be silly, because let's be honest, there's going to be situations when you end up doing it. As we catch these 2 up, they're fighting away, and we might be able to go for a move here. Now, I was having a little look around the outside here. We're not going to be able to go for that. We decided to try and do a bit of a cut back and maybe get a good line through it. And again, you can see we're not going to be able to go for that. But we do throw it up the inside there, but I don't think we can actually make that move, because he's got the outside. We give him the space on the outside, and he holds on to that PA. But yeah, like I was saying, we're always going to be in a situation where we get that frustrated. And sometimes it is actually best to remove yourself from a race if you find yourself getting really frustrated, in case you don't, in case you ruin other people's races. So sometimes it may be the best thing to do is just remove yourself from the race. But in general, I think that there are still positions to gain, and you shouldn't give up all the time, as we're showing in this race up to P9. And we're having a good battle here for P7. You can see that P7's driving very well. P8's looking to get past him. A great little battle. We're all on the medium tyres. These 2 drivers in front of me have got that lap extra less that they've driven, which is quite a lot with this high tyre ratio that was on this race. However, we're still feeling pretty confident that we can get past these 2 if we get an opportunity. I was feeling pretty confident with my pace at this combination. So into the braking zone, trying to get into the apex nice and early, being very cautious on the power through that corner, especially when you're following another car. When you get that loss of aero, that rear of the car becomes very sketchy through there. As we see, Z-Fix in front of us is going to go for a move. Is he going to go around the outside? He's going to try and hang it around the outside. However, he has braked very late. He's not going to be able to make that move stick. They're going side by side through a little bit of contact. We're going to take advantage, go around the left-hand side of the driver Adam Weller in front of us, and we managed to hold a nice move around the outside there. We still got him to our side, brake as late as we can while keeping it tight to the apex with that first gear downshift, and that's now P8 in this race after that rather horrible start to the race. So a really good recovery so far. Can we get ourselves up into P7 now? So we're going to get the slipstream down this straight from Z-Fix. Can we go for a move into turn 1? We're in pretty good distance to get that slipstream and maybe go for a late braking move into the braking zone for turn 1. So let's see what we do. Picking up the slipstream down into turn 1 now. Let's have a little look. We're on the full replay. We go for the fake down left, cut back to the inside line, brake as late as we can. We brake a little bit too late. He manages to do a cut back. We're almost 3 wide in that corner, but we've managed to hold that position, and we've got the inside line now for this fast left hand corner. So brilliant bit of racing between all 3 drivers there, and we managed to take that position and move up into P7 in this daily race C. So again, really good racing and an enjoyable race so far. So I'm really glad we didn't rage quit this one. We kept at it, and we're now looking at an easy top 10 and P7 as we're still battling with this guy though. He's not giving up this fight. He's going to try and hang it round the outside. Some brilliant racing all the way through here, and we're going to take an inside line here and try and brake nice and late, hold an apex. We take that really nicely there. You can see he tries to do a cutback. That's not going to work. He's got a car battling behind us with him, and we've got a nice bit of a gap now. So hopefully we can push on now, get away from the slipstream. Even though we're on older tyres, we should be able to push away, and maybe we have P6 up ahead of us. And if we can get P6, this will be I'd be very proud of this P6, and I think a certain other person would be pretty happy with getting P6 in what has happened in this race. As we work our way up the straight, you can see we've got one lap to get now, one lap left now to try and get ourselves into P6. And I think I've never wanted to be P6 so much in a race. I really wanted that P6. I know it's not a particularly amazing position, but when we started at the back and then we bottled it and we were right the way further back, to come away with a P6 in this race would be quite a recovery drive, as we see. You see Eager Fragger there up into P3. Annoyingly, I think we could have been having quite a good battle with him, although I think he would have got us on the medium tyre with his tyre saving. He's very strong at looking after them tyres. But you can see now we do seem to have a bit of a pace advantage over P6. We are gaining on him and we are pushing the car. Even though the tyres are on their 7th lap and they're looking very worn, you can see that on the telemetry, them tyres are not looking very good at all. We are catching him and we're getting into that slipstream as we come through here. We're almost in the slipstream. I think we're actually in the slipstream there. You can feel the car going slightly loose, and we're working our way down now into the heavy braking zone. This is where we need to get really close to him in the slipstream. You can see we were just outside the slipstream actually before. We're now getting into the slipstream. Nice early apex there. Very smooth on the throttle. Onto the throttle nicely there. Actually very well done there to try and get into the slipstream. And can we go for a move before the finishing line to get 6th place in this Daily Race C? It's going to be a very close finish. Do not go anywhere as we come through to these final 2 corners. He's going very loose through there. You can see he's definitely struggling with tyres, as I am. We go for a wide line on this final corner to try and get a very strong exit on the car. Early upshift to 2nd gear and 3rd gear there to try and get good traction. And we've got the slipstream now. Can we manage to get ourselves up into P6? We're going to go down the left-hand side. It's going to be a drag race to the finishing line. Will we manage to get it? And just before the finishing line, we managed to grab that P6. So what a race and what a comeback. Let's take a look at this though. Look how close that was for P6 on. That is a photo finish if I've ever seen a photo finish. So an enjoyable race. I really hope you lot enjoyed this video, and please make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that like button. I do appreciate everyone who takes the time to hit the like button, and I'll see you all soon for more videos. Thanks again everyone.